2008 Nautilus.
I've never had one.
Martin Burrow. Nautilus is the brand. Martin Burrow is the area. The vintage is 2008. And I got 0 on 108. Yeah, it was in New Zealand. But if anybody would like me to pay me to go there and find out, I have my card. It's a lot of whites in New Zealand. Okay, you guys want number 3?
I like number 3.
You like number 3?
Yeah.
Is it pretty well liked one?
Yeah.
California?
Yeah.
If everybody's thinking it's a local one,
Yeah, I think Santa Rita Hills.
it is local, not local. It's Merlot. No, I'm just kidding. This is the font. You may have heard this brand.
Santa Rita Hills. I knew it.
Santa Rita Hills 2009. That is wine number 3. It's called the Fawn. This is the local. This place is got guy's name, right?
Good for you. You got it, huh?
So wine number 4. You guys, what do you think? You liked it? Was it liked? Yeah, pretty well liked. Enjoyed it. Boring. So California? Yeah. Definitely California. California one. Sonoma Coast, maybe. It is New Zealand. And you guys, this is the one I spoke about because this is a brand I am pretty familiar with because I think the winemaker's name is Jeff and he's been to World of Pinot Noir a few times. This is one of those cult-like, if Sea Smoke has a little bit of reputation here, Craggy Range has the same or better in New Zealand. So this is a brand, when you go to New Zealand, this is a brand that all the winemakers want to go visit, talk to them about what they're doing because they got a beautiful gravity flow winery and Craggy Range, great reputation. So, vintage is 2010. They're 6 months ahead of us. And single vineyard, Martin
Tastes like an Italian table
Burrow,
wine. It was
New
just
Zealand.
bland.
So it's not even since what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Oh, I like this.
Okay. And that's also a full bottle of wine. Wine number 5, you guys. You guys like it? California? New Zealand?
What was number 5? Tell me again.
Argyle. Argyle. So this is right there in the town of Dundee on the Highway 99, about 45 minutes south of Portland. And they specialize in sparkling wines and they're viticulturists.
Taste from an earth
I can't think of his name. But a lot of connection to New Zealand too. I think he's a Kiwi. Vintage is 2008. It's just a Willamette Valley Pinot Noir. No vineyard designate to it. Roland is the viticulturist. Roland is
have the accent on the wrong syllable.
Got it.
So you guys, wine number 6. What do you guys think? So I can California. All right, wine number 6 is River Pinch. Another local one, you guys. So this is on Fox and Canyon Trail, right across from where the road blows out. I don't think it does anymore. River Pinch Winery. In fact, they just hired a wonderful and very talented winemaker named Clarissa Nagy, who used to work. She's currently just took the job, but she's going to be their winemaker there. And I've had their wines have done quite well. So I like the wine. Yeah, she's from Bonaccorsi, and she worked when I left Byron in '90. I left Byron, she came to Byron a month or 2 later. Yeah, John. And the vintage of that River Pinch wine, guys, is 2008. It's Mesa Pinot Noir in Santa Maria Valley.
Because they're well over?
Wine number 7 is my wine.
He's gonna bring more. He's gonna bring more.
So this is 2009. Our tagline is "Trying to suck." So I'm just kidding. So this vineyard, you guys. So the company is called Sinaloa Valley. You heard about the names. One thing about the label: the thumbprint on the left is mine. On the right is my wife's and our children on the back label. So it's just a small company. The label's not designed for any retail. You can't read it from, hell, I can't even read it from here sometimes. This is 2009 is the vintage. But in particular, the vineyard is called Aubin Vineyard. It's a very special vineyard. This vineyard is just south of Letitia Winery on the 101, at 840-foot elevation overlooking the ocean. Currently, it's only Brian Loring and myself are the only people who get fruit from that vineyard. I made a run for it the last 6 months to buy it. It's currently for sale. I was not able to make it happen. So if you'd like to buy a vineyard that overlooks the ocean and has some of the best Pinot Noir in the state of California, come see me. Come see me. Yeah, exactly. I tried to buy it, but the problem with it for me is it's got a 5,000 square foot home that is way beyond what I should have, and the ocean view. So all I need is a vineyard, and a piece of land, and a trailer. So wine number 8. It's also my wine too. So this is interesting. It's kind of fun side by side. This is Tally Rincon Vineyard. It's so funny, you guys. With these two wines, this is Tally Rincon Vineyard. Jim Clendenin, myself, Chuck Carlson, and Raj Parr, the only people who get to buy fruit currently from Tally Vineyards. This is when I go to New York. This is definitely the one that gets me in the door. They go, wait a minute, how did you get Tally? And especially when I tell them I have 1 acre of a year. But I sell, as far as style of wine, you guys, the Aubin sells 2 to 1 over this. I chose this piece of land because it has an older clone. The color's much lighter, it's prettier, and it's just a lot more different style of Pinot Noir. But what's really fun about Pinot Noir is those 2 wines side by side, same winemaking, same technique, same exact forest in the barrel, same barrel manufacturer, bottled in the same day. 2 different Pinot Noir vineyards. Again, window to the soil, it's pretty different.
What are the clones in those?
So the second one, the Tally Rincon, and these are both 2009 vintage, Seinerle Valleys. This is clone 2A from Waynesville, Switzerland. Out of Switzerland came 2 specific clones in the late 80s, 1A and 2A. A lot of people know about 2A these days. 1A, there's very few of us that remember 1A, and it was kind of popular at one point. And it was one of the clones they took up to Oregon to get Oregon started on, and it's a clone that started Rosemary's Vineyard for Tally, and 2A is also typically and historically a preferred clone for Jim Clendenin too. It's an elegant, prettier style clone of Pinot Noir. The other vineyard, Aubin, is blended between 667 and 777. It gets a little geeky, but those are the, when I talked about that alpha and that time where it changed, it was really those 2 clones that really came to us and were like, oh wow, these are different. And those 2 were a big part of that sort of new 115, and then it came to 667, 777. So those are a whole different clonal aspect. But the vineyard also overlooks the ocean too, so the berries are small. It's pretty wild. Wine number 9.
Which we also didn't get. Nope.
Oregon.
Is Oregon? California. It's California. 2007 Summerland Pinot Noir. Another local brand. And I got to introduce my friend Etienne, who's the winemaker for us tonight. This happens to be bottle number 4,754. And it's actually from a vineyard up where I live in the Edna Valley. This is from a vineyard called Wolf Vineyard. This was planted in the mid-70s by a gentleman named Andy McGregor. Andy McGregor is a good friend who's passed on, but he actually helped put the first guy on the moon too. He was with Rocketdyne. It was his group who designed the, Andy's group was the group who designed the fuel pump to get the fuel to the rocket. And so he started this vineyard in the mid-70s, he's a real pioneer in our area up in the Edna Valley. Changed hands about 13 years ago. It's now owned by a gentleman named Jean-Pierre Wolf. And he has Wolf Vineyard Winery, makes some great wines. And the Summerland Group buys Pinot Noir from them and has been for a while.
The reason why I have this vineyard is because Mike turned me onto it and I couldn't get the Chamsal vineyard anymore. Because I know a great little vineyard you should look into, Jean-Pierre Wolf's vineyard. So taking's been a great time there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's because of Andy, and Andy's best friend, who's still with us too, Mayo Zurich, is James from also out of J region, and he's the one who's tool being trained me on Geraldo and LaGrange, which has been important. Question, sir?
What's the percentage of alcohol?
You saw my way.
What? So the question was asked, is anything specific?
Oh, I just wondering what the range.
Great question. So the question was asked about what's the general alcohol level in Pinot Noir. You know what? It depends on the style of wine. They can range anywhere from Oregons, on an average year, are probably like 12.5 to 13. Okay? For Oregon. In Burgundy, they can be like, very rarely they're down at 10 anymore, but they're 11 to 13.5%. In California, they definitely give it a 13.5 to 14.5, 15%. Those are very general ranges of alcohol. And so those alcohols also represent very well where they're grown from. That's a conflict, or I'd say a conversation I'm having with a lot of my friends in Burgundy, is that, you know, about alcohol levels in Pinot Noirs. We live here in California. I don't live in Beaune Romanée. If I lived there, I'd probably be making a wine that had a different alcohol level. I live here in the Sunshine State, so alcohol, for us, our job is to balance it. We're going to have higher alcohols. And this is something that's a philosophical thing, and then we all take our points on it. Last year, World of Pinot Noir, oh my gosh, if you went to that seminar, and Alex from the New York Times, Alex, the writer for New York Times, was there, and it blew up in this huge internet thing about this alcohol debate, and somebody switched to wine. It was a very interesting read for months afterwards. And so, but basically, alcohols here locally in California tend to be higher. Some people are impassioned by making them lower. A gentleman up in Napa in a town called Angwin has a brand called Dunn, Randy Dunn. And his daughter worked for me at Byron Winery at Newman Alfred, and I worked with her, and I got to know Randy. I used to stay up there. He is passionate about low alcohol wines. Wrote a letter to the Wine Spectator, told him to kiss his ass, and just said, look, and he's that passionate about it. And so that's his personal opinion of it. So, I don't know. Did I answer your question about alcohol?
But they're trending up the same way all the other varietals, right?
They are trending up, but I tell you what, I opened a Zacca Mesa Chardonnay that Ken Brown made in the 70s, 79, I got it, and that thing was 14-1. And I got a picture of it.
Non-alcoholic wine is like
Okay, it's Zacca Mesa Chardonnay in the late 70s, it's got there in 76, 77. So they've been high back then. Also, another great example is Domaine Leroy in Burgundy. Domaine Leroy is one of the most important wineries in the world when it comes to great Pinot Noir. She's part owner of Domaine Leroy Conti, and her personal brand is called Leroy. It's like Leroy. So I remember being with Matt Kramer and these guys up in Oregon, and he kind of tried to take her to the rug because her her Lee Courtin Pinot Noir was 14.9 alcohol. Okay, we were all sitting there going, wow, because he revealed it and was like, wow, here's one of the best Pinot Noir producers and brands and vineyards on earth, and it's 14.9. And her point was he's chasing us in California.
So what vintage was that?
Let me do the math here, because that was not, and I was there on 2. It had to be up there about 96, so we were probably looking back. I was there, that probably was either 96 or 97 calendar year, so we were probably looking into 91s, 92s maybe.
Okay, and big alcohol content was not the name of the game back then. So the fact that Leroy put out that high of a percentage was only a reflection of their winemaking philosophy. It wasn't trying to, live up to some big boy standards.
And the way the Madame of Burgundy answered it that day was, look, this is the vineyard, it's the expression it has, the vintage was riper, I picked it riper. I'm not looking for alcohol, I'm just trying to make the best wine I can. And that, to me, was succinctly my opinion too. It's like, look, I'm just trying to make wine and live at the beach, raise my kid. So I don't have this big philosophical thing about alcohol where it should be. I want wine to taste good, I want people to be into it, and that's what I'm driven by, is how you balance. And I personally, from experience and what I do, I can balance a wine that's got high alcohol. I was talking earlier, somebody was talking about some high, it was Frank, we were talking earlier with regards to high levels of alcohol as Zinfandel. You're quoting 17.5s. I personally made a rosé wine at 18% alcohol and sold it out in 2 months. They loved it. People were, and you couldn't taste it. The acid was there. It was like,
That's good.
So it's about balance. At the end of the day, I think it's really about balance and what you like. And so the question was asked about Daryl Cordy up in Sacramento, who has Cordy Brothers grocery store. Another arduous, passionate person about low alcohol, regardless of quality of wine. It's more than passion by the level of alcohol. And so he won't allow you to bring a wine in if it's above 14 or something of that nature.
13.5 when he started.
Something of that nature. And that, it made a lot of press, and that's, I think, Daryl's point there. So. Anyway, you guys, that's enough for me to talk. But you have questions, please.
A personal appellation adjective to describe the Pinot Noirs versus other reds, whether it's Malbec, Carmenere, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot. Just a guideline, personal appellation description.
And so appellation description on Pinot Noir, different regions I could just name off right off the top of my head.
Versus other reds.
Woo! Okay. Man, that's hard to wrap my little brain around in terms of, counterpointing them with other varietals. I mean, appellation-wise, it's really hard. It's hard for me to be able to answer that right now with something succinctly and pull out of my ass and just kind of saying something. So I can compare maybe the Pinot Noir from Edna Valley to Santa Rita to Santa Maria Valley to Russian River Carneros, as far as Pinot Noir. Malbec, I happen to farm 6% of Malbec in California. I have an idea about that vineyard, but I don't know about everybody else's vineyard, really. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't have a good answer to be able to compare Pinot Noir and all those varietals by region.
So it's basically like why do you prefer a Pinot Noir versus a Malbec?
That's a great question. I can handle, dude. I like it. Okay, now we're rolling. Now we're rolling. Why do I
And
like Pinot?
apply that then with a Merlot and a Cabernet.
Okay, well, but I like your question. You helped me better define it in my brain. Sometimes, you know, I had a really fun high school time, so I got a lot of them left. So, the question to me is, why do I like Pinot Noir over other varietals? Because Pinot Noir has typicity of place. It's very clear. I think that's very important. And Pinot Noir is just seductive. When Pinot Noir is done great, it doesn't hit you over the head. All the other varietals, like Cabernet, I mean, it's easy to counterpoint with Cabernet. A great Cabernet tastes great. It's bold. It's kind of obvious. Okay? A great Pinot Noir needs to actually reveal itself to you, and you have to be able to understand it, or you'll blow right over it. You'll go, that wine sucks. You go to the next one. And if you're not attuned to it, you're not going to see it. And I like that about Pinot Noir. It's not obvious. You like it, but you don't know why you like it. It's got layers that keeps building. And when I like a Malbec, it's like, you know what? It's got a little bit of that gunflint to it. It's got a little bit. I mean, Malbec often has a little bit of that cedar character, and you know, in Cabernet, I want to have a little bit of herb. I want to have power and structure, and it's obvious. It's big. It's robust, but it's quite obvious. And things that are obvious are great. But I dig stuff that's kind of hard to understand, and that's for me why I like Pinot Noir. Did I answer your question?
Thanks, Mike. Thank you so much.